Nicely done. Okay, thank you very much. And now, a true honor to present the Nancy Hamill Winter Leadership Award. All right, criteria for the Nancy Hamill Winter Award include choosing an individual who demonstrates the best qualities of a land conservationist as exemplified by Nancy through her long dedication to the protection of natural areas and indigenous cultural areas. Our award recipient, Chloris Lowe, is someone who many of you may have had the privilege to meet and others may not have. He is not someone you will see wielding a chainsaw on the land. And because he lives in Wisconsin, he's less able to join us at various events. However, his quiet, knowledgeable presence with JDCF over the last 12 years has strengthened our mission, expanded our understanding of the precious indigenous cultural resources we protect on the land. Chloris Lowe has twice served as president of the Ho-Chunk Nation. When he assumed that role, the Ho-Chunk population was largely unemployed and heavily reliant on U.S. federal government subsidies. During Chloris's administration, programs to develop business and encourage post-high school education were developed. Today, the Ho-Chunk Nation has tribal lawyers, accountants, teachers, and healthcare providers, and boasts 95% employment. He continues to work with tribal communities across the U.S. as they build their own vitality in a variety of enterprises. For 6 years, Chloris worked as part of the team developing the National Museum of the American Indian for the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. And then this talented man entered our lives. Weren't we lucky? We're so pleased. Chloris has helped us to deeply appreciate and treasure all that we see in the natural world as part of the lives and traditions of those who were of the land before us. He has encouraged us to listen and learn. He's never one to tell us what should be done, but rather leads by example. He's helped us to connect with other tribal leaders who can guide us further in understanding the story the land has to tell. Chloris is endlessly patient, encouraging our curiosity, supporting our integrity, and fueling our passion for our mission. He believes in JDCF. Chloris has walked the path with us so that we can continue to walk it ourselves and with others. We are profoundly grateful for Chloris's friendship, leadership, and example, and we are very proud to recognize him tonight with the Nancy Hamill Winter Leadership Award. We're particularly honored this year to have Nancy Hamill Winter here with us to present the award. Nancy is a JDCF board member emeritus and has been deeply involved in our organization since its very founding. Please welcome Nancy Hamill.
I have to cry a little bit. Sorry. It's overwhelming to have the award named for me to start with. It's not my personality to be on the stage. But I'm very proud to be on the stage of anything that has to do with conservation and the integration of peoples on this earth, whether it's the Native Americans and the white Americans who conquered them and threw them away, or whether it's Asians or whoever. I've had an opportunity to travel a lot, and I'm involved throughout the world with international exchange. But this opportunity to present Chloris with this award is really special to me. I have nothing to do with his selection. I'm not in the process of it, or nomination, or the team that decided on this honor for him. But I was delighted to know of the decision. And why Chloris is really special to JDCF and to receive the Conservation Award is because of his conserving the cultures of his people and that represents his particular nation, the Ho-Chunks, and to me, all the Native Americans that have been so oppressed by the people that all look like most of us in this room, of which I'm very ashamed, quite truthfully, to know that all of us who could raise our hands and say that our ancestors came to North America before 1900 are part of the process of the genocide of the Native Americans. And I don't want to make us all dwell on that, but we need to reflect upon that. And Chloris has had the courage to step forward from his Ho-Chunk community as an individual, not necessarily initially supported by his tribe, to reach out to members of JDCF through our staff in particular, Christy Trifona, who isn't here, and Chris Kirkpatrick, and Phil Milhouse. Are you still here, Phil? I don't know. Yeah? Who was a former recipient of this award. It's through those three staff members that we really have known Chloris from the beginning. But Chloris has made the bridge to introduce members of his tribal nation to JDCF's work and our ownership of the properties that many of you know, particularly along the Mississippi River, but also at Apple River, Wapello Preserve, and to build a bridge. And today we were at Wapello with members of the Ho-Chunk Nation who were introduced earlier today. And Chloris's family who wasn't introduced. Thank you for being here. And we really feel that we have confidence in each other. Nobody's running away, making excuses. We're not crying out there saying we're sorry. We're saying let's work together and go forward in the future. And it's due to Chloris stepping forward and being an ambassador for, to me, the Native Americans of this country that he represents in this gift. So thank you, Chloris, for being here, and I hope you'll say something. But I'm very proud to know him and be his friend, and I'll tell you a little later about the Ho-Chunk name that his father gave to me. There was a little shocking, but now I understand why he did that.
Nancy just told me to say something, I don't know what. First of all, can everybody hear me here in this room? Okay, great. I speak with a loud voice, like most of our people, as we're known to. I actually do have something prepared. I've never done this before. I've always spoke extemporaneously. But Steve warned me not to do that. Because those that know me understand I don't watch the clock when I speak like that. And we have much to do this evening. Before I read what I have prepared, I will say this, especially as I look around this room. I see many friends. Some I've known for decades. Some of you, I've known your father, your family. Others of you, I have not personally met. But I am humbled, I'm very humbled to be asked to be here this evening and to receive this award. It is a true honor when I look around this room and I see each of you and I understand what your organization does. And while I may not understand what each of you do for JDCF. I truly honor that. I've traveled a lot in my life, throughout, primarily here in this country. But when I worked with the National Museum of American Indian, I was honored to work with many different cultures. There's over 5,500 cultures here in this hemisphere. I didn't hardly touch any of those as a liaison between the Smithsonian and the native cultures, the native tribes, nations of this hemisphere. But I can say this, that it was an honor to do so. But as I said to people earlier this afternoon, most of my interaction with these native cultures that we have, that we represent, have been not with the elected leaders, with the political leaders, but more so with the traditional people, of our Aboriginal people of this hemisphere, but primarily here from within the United States. JDCF is the only organization in all of my travels, in all of my life experiences, and I'm 76 plus years old. You are the only organization that encompasses, grasps, and understands the importance of who we are as a family, all of us. Not just Native Americans, Aboriginal people, and all the other races. We here, we are the latest people to stand on this landscape and to live on this landscape. And you are a part of these peoples now of this landscape. And what you do is so unique because it's the only organization that recognizes, quite frankly, what you recognize. I've never run into another organization like this in this country. Now, there may be some, but I've never run into one. And you're to be congratulated for that. For reaching out, opening your hearts up, and looking outside the box, and understanding what our responsibility is to this land and to future generations. I'll read to you now my prepared. So much for your 3 minutes. Short. As with each of you, I've been blessed with many challenging opportunities through the course of my life. And with each of these very unique opportunities, I've always been so fortunate to be surrounded with people who knew so much more than I. With their guidance and with their input, seemingly insurmountable goals and objectives were achieved, and lifelong friendships were established, many of which are here in this room. My good fortune in working together with you for these many years has certainly been one of the most outstanding gifts given to my life by our Creator, and I thank each of you with all of my heart for all that you have shared with me through the years. And I sincerely look forward to continue working together with each of you and your interest into the future. You have many different interests here in this wonderful organization. I thank each of you for all that you have given to this effort to leave this land upon which we live our lives so much better for our children, our grandchildren, and for those we shall never know that will follow us. I congratulate you and I thank you, for this is our award and not mine. Thank you all.
One more thing. I'm never prepared for my remarks. The picture that we are presenting to Chloris is an original watercolor done by Patty McNamara from the Field Museum. And it happens to be of my home farm that I recently donated to JDCF. And JDCF is now the caretaker of all the birds and the flowers. And quite honestly, I wish the tornado would take the buildings away, so we don't have to think about them. And we will think about them, so anybody knows any renter or buyer who would like to talk to Steve, that would be fine. But what I want to say is, I want to present to Chloris a token of my heart, blood, sweat, and tears in creating a last chance for the birds at Big Sky. And we do have not mounds, but definitely places there that the Native Americans would have hunted until they couldn't catch enough food to eat in the days when people were dependent on the land for their life. So Chloris, this is from my heart. Home. For you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chloris. And my apologies for not including you. I just sort of feel like you're one of the members here that you and your son, Chloris III, and your beautiful wife, Christine. So nice to have all of you here. Like I say, you feel like you're always part of us. So thank you. Thank you very much.